What is up, guys,
What
and
up?
welcome back to another Thou Shalt Listen. I'm Tyler,
I'm Hunter.
and today we're coming to you with a little bit different topic. We're going to switch it up from games and stuff, and we're going to go into movies.
Yeah.
So, guys, today we have the most realistic war movies according to military veterans. This list is actually from the spoke.co by SF Gate. So, obviously, we know Hollywood is not accurate.
No.
Hollywood is going to take liberties, all for, money. They want ticket sales. They don't care about accuracy when they're making their movies a lot of the time.
And to me, in certain things, if you keep it accurate, you're still gonna have a good movie.
Yes. And, I mean, to be fair, when you're doing movies, a lot of the time you're not doing something that's a true story. So you can have those liberties and stuff like that, because it does make for entertainment.
Yeah.
But when you're depicting life as a soldier, you want to try to be, if it's a true story, you want to try to be accurate, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So which war movies depict this the most accurately? When you're asking this question, it's best to look to the voice of experience. Military vets weighed in with their opinions in an effort to find out which war flicks are the most true to life. The following are the top 10 most realistic war movies according to soldiers. Number 1 on the list. We're going from the best all the way up, okay? And the main reason for that is because of
70% accuracy rating.
Restrepo had a 70% accuracy rating. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 96%, and it has an IMDb score of 7.6 out of 10. So this was actually the winner of the 2010 Sundance Film Festival Grand Jury Prize. It was a documentary. It chronicles the deployment of a platoon of U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan's Karingal Valley, which was one of the most dangerous postings in the U.S. military. It focuses on 15 soldiers based at Outpost Restrepo, named after a platoon medic killed early in the deployment. This was filmed by author Sebastian Junger and award-winning photographer Tim Hetherington, and it doesn't really give me much on the movie itself, other than it's about 90 minutes long.
And it's a
documentary without commentary.
Yeah.
And Spoke has actually stated that nothing beats the real thing, so it is no surprise the documentary is the best. Restrepo is comprised of first-hand footage of the Afghanistan war and is the rawest look at what it's like to be on the front lines of a battlefield. It drops you into the adrenaline-pulsing action with real lives on the line and is a must-watch film for understanding warfare no matter what your political stance is. It's not staged. It's actual footage.
Yeah.
So, if that has a 70% rating, you know we're going up from there. Number 2 on this list is Generation Kill. It has an 81% rating. It does not have a Rotten Tomato score, but it has an IMDb rating of 8.5% out of 10. Or sorry, 8.5 out of 10. I don't know why I said percent. The Rolling Stones reporter, embedded with the first... This is the lowdown on Generation Kill. A Rolling Stones reporter, embedded with the first Recon Marines, chronicles his experience during the first wave of the American-led assault on Baghdad in 2003. In many ways, Generation Kill is the most realistic depiction of modern soldiers to date. It's a 7-part miniseries that is both dark and humorous, capturing the twisted psyches that soldiers adopt at war. Generation Kill is remarkably truthful down to the smallest details, like Skittles being part of Emery rations.
Nice.
Then number 3 on the list, and you knew this one was going to be on here. 88% has a 92% Rotten Tomato score and an 8.6 out of 10 on IMDb. The lowdown on this: Steven Spielberg directed this powerful, realistic recreation of World War II's D-Day invasion and the immediate aftermath. The story opens with a prologue in which a veteran brings his family to the American cemetery at Normandy, and a flashback then joins Captain John Miller, played by Tom Hanks, and GIs in a landing craft making the June 6, 1944 approach to Omaha Beach to face devastating German artillery and machine gun fire. This mass slaughter of American soldiers is depicted in a compelling, unforgettable 24-minute sequence. An actual footage of this was watched before the movie was released by veterans of D-Day, who some of which had to leave the theater because of the realism of the scene.
Yeah.
This is actually regarded as one of the best war films ever, and one of the most realistic combat scenes in the history of cinema. The opening landing scene on Omaha Beach during the invasion of Normandy is a brutal depiction of the realities of war. Unrelenting waves of blood, mud, and bullets fill the first 20 minutes as hundreds of bodies fall. After the scene, however, Spielberg did start to take artistic liberties with the events of the film.
Yeah.
Fair. Now, these ratings, by the way, are people rating the movie here, by the way. So we can rate, however much we want to on those as well. The next one on the list does not have a rating. No one has rated it yet. This is Stalingrad. It has a 50% Rotten Tomato score, and I've actually watched this movie. I really like this movie. And an IMDb score of 5.6 out of 10. It's an epic look at the battle that turned the tide of World War II. A band of determined Russian soldiers fight to hold a strategic building in their devastated city against a ruthless German army, and in the process become deeply connected to a Russian woman who has been living there. The scale of the battle contrasts dramatically with the human drama of the Russian soldiers, the few remaining civilians, and their invaders in Stalingrad. One of the great things is that it comes without the lens of nationalism. It makes a point to show just how hopeless the Germans became throughout the battle, and those that didn't die on the field froze to death or committed suicide. And then next, with an 82% of people voted for it, is Full Metal Jacket. It has a 93% Rotten Tomato score and an 8.3 out of 10 on IMDb.
There were some liberties taken in this.
There was. Full Metal Jacket will join The Deer Hunter, Apocalypse Now, and Platoon on the front line of powerful films about the Vietnam War. Cinematic genius Stanley Kubrick, awarded Best Director by the London Film Critics Circle, traces a young Marine's Pacific Heights and the band played on actor Matthew Modine Odyssey from dehumanizing boot camp to the bloody terror of the Tet Offensive. Boot camp varies from branch to branch of the military, but many servicemen say Full Metal Jacket is in line with their training experience. Minus the whole murder-suicide.
Yeah.
Full Metal gets the training regiment, obstacle courses, and the day-to-day of basic correct. Modern-day drill instructors aren't nearly as abusive as Sergeant Hartman, but they will still go as far as they are allowed to harden their recruits into battle-ready soldiers.
Well, yeah. Back then you were allowed to go a lot farther, though.
Now, this one, I have actually talked to a soldier who was there during this event, because this is based on a true story, and a lot of what they did in this movie is accurate to the letter. The advantage being the helicopter scenes in this movie are flown by actual military helicopters and military pilots.
Nice.
Which adds to the realism of the movie. And of course, if you don't know yet, guys, we're talking about Black Hawk Down.
Black Hawk Down, 82%.
76% Rotten Tomato, 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb. And this is actually based on a true story. U.S. Rangers and an elite Delta Force team attempted to kidnap 2 underlings of a Somali warlord. The Black Hawk helicopters are shot down and the Americans face intense combat with the militia on the ground. So, Black Hawk Down does get criticized for skewing the historical events of the Battle of Mogadishu to paint the U.S. forces in a more competent light. That's fair. But veterans agree that the film truly captures the combat experience. They've described the movie as rage and PTSD inducing because of the bleak firefights. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Next, and this is one of my favorite movies, war movies.
Yeah.
I read the book before the movie came out. Obviously, they did take some liberties, but the man that this movie and this book were based off of was on... Like, he's in the movie. He plays one of the SEALs in the helicopter, but he was also on scene every time to make sure they stayed as accurate as possible.
Yeah.
We're talking about Lone Survivor. Has a 75% Rotten Tomato score and a 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb. And this is actually based on the New York Times best-selling true story of heroism, courage, and survival. Lone Survivor tells the incredible tale of 4 Navy SEALs on a covert mission to neutralize a high-level Al-Qaeda operative who are ambushed by the enemy in the mountains of Afghanistan. Faced with an impossible moral decision, the small band is isolated from help and surrounded by a much larger force of Taliban ready for war. The movie, obviously, based on the title, Lone Survivor, there was only one survivor. This is actually one of the biggest losses of Navy SEALs to date. So they went in with a team of 4 from SEAL Team 10, I believe it was.
Yeah.
They were tasked with eliminating this target. They ran into goat herders in the mountains, and they captured them, and they had to make the choice: do we kill them to save the integrity of our mission, or do we let them go? They chose to let them go. They were attacked by the Taliban. It's either the Taliban or Al-Qaeda. I don't remember. Yeah. But they fought a downhill battle because they were coming at them from up top for hours. We're talking about SEALs. One of them was shot 7 times before he finally was killed. Whenever their commander walked out into the open with a satellite phone to call into the base and let them know, my men are dying. He died because of that. But he did it to save his men.
Yeah.
When this happened, the commander of SEAL Team 10 grabbed every man that was there, including himself, saying they would need all the guns they had, boarded a Chinook to go get them. Now, Chinook helicopters are cumbersome. And a daytime insertion is very dangerous. They came up over the mountain where they had dropped them off previously, flared up to go ahead and fast rope their troops in.
Yeah.
RPG was fired into the helicopter, killing everyone on board.
Yeah.
It's the biggest loss of SEALs to date that I know of. Mark Wahlberg plays Marcus Luttrell.
Yeah.
The only survivor. The only reason he survived is because there is a custom in Afghanistan where these people will grant you, clemency, or basically, because I don't know the actual word, you're a guest in their village and they will all lay down their life to protect you.
Yeah.
The people that found him healed him and literally stood against Al-Qaeda from taking him.
Yeah.
That's a big deal for them to have done so, Or Taliban. It's either the Taliban or the Al-Qaeda. I don't remember exactly which. It's been a little while since I
was the Taliban.
Well, Al-Qaeda they were going after an Al-Qaeda operative. The Taliban are the ones who attacked them.
Yeah.
So, but it's based off a true story. It's incredibly accurate for what it is. Mark Wahlberg's Lone Survivor has its share of Hollywood action sequences, but it is praised for its portrayal of military tactics, deadly communication issues, and accurate use of weaponry. Before a shootout in particular is considered a solid representation of the claustrophobic chaos that accompanies firefights. Lone Survivor also showcases real moral dilemmas that troops face and the potential loss of life that taking the high ground can lead to.
Yep.
And then we have Jarhead. 60. I did not care for this movie. It wasn't really
I've seen all
kind.
I've seen all the movies on this list, but 2.
Jarhead.
This is one of them.
I guess the other was Stalingrad.
Yeah.
Yep. Jarhead, 61% on Rotten Tomatoes, 7.0 out of 10 on IMDb, and it's based on Marine Anthony Suford's biting memory about his stint as a sniper in Operation Desert Storm. The film focuses on the long, lonely days spent at war and the cynicism and caustic humor soldiers employ to deal with unimaginable conditions. So, many veterans feel that this film disgraces the Marines with exaggerated antics, while others say it captures one aspect of war very well, the waiting. It isn't unheard of for troops to do a tour without ever seeing action firsthand. Downtime on deployment can be maddening, with moments of terror interjected between hours and hours of monotony. Mm-hmm. For this reason, the hotly contested Jarhead makes the list. And that's all of them.
Nice.
And I do agree. Every one of these movies is, in its way, one of the more accurate.
The number one was Saving Private Ryan, I'm pretty sure. If you go by their ratings.
So, if you go by the ratings of people voting, yes. If you go by actual accuracy, Restrepo is going to be the best because it's actual footage. Yeah. It's not acted. It's actual footage from Restrepo.
Yeah.
So, I agree with the list. 100%. All of these movies deserve to be on there, and they're all good movies. If you haven't seen any, I would recommend going and watching. In a way,
I don't completely agree with their list because that's really not fair. Putting a documentary up against
it's a war movie.
Movies that were acted though.
I mean, it's classified as a war movie.
So. Well, to me, a documentary is not.
The reason it's classified as a war movie and not a documentary is because there's no interviews, there's no commentary. It's just footage.
Yeah. That. I'm just saying.
I know, I get what you're saying. It just... I get what they were doing.
And I hadn't seen it either.
It's a good one. If you've not watched it, I would recommend it. But anyways, guys, we're going to go ahead and end it there.
And by the way, guys, this is going to be our last podcast for a couple weeks.
2, maybe 3 weeks.
Tyler's going to be moving. I'm going to be taking a break. So we're going to be
out for a little bit.
And... but we will be back next time, and I think I've already got a podcast idea. But you'll just have to wait and see.
You have to wait and see, guys.
Because this gave it to me, and I'm going to see if I can find anything that'll help us put it together.
Okay.
So you'll just have to wait and see.
Hope you enjoyed.
We lost our light in here, because Tyler didn't turn the lights on, apparently. So we'll see you guys next time.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye.